For the first time in a long time, buyers are not feeling quite as rushed as they used to, and the market has shifted. Almost since 2019, Greensboro and the Triad has consistently been in a seller's market. Now we are looking a little more towards a buyer's market. Homes are not flying off the market in 24 hours. Sellers are having to be more realistic, and buyers are asking, is the market crashing? Should I negotiate more? Do sellers still have the upper hand? Today's video breaks down what has changed, why it matters, and what sellers and buyers need to know in order for this market to work. What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to Greensboro with Grace. If you're new here, be sure to check out my channel. I'm your local real estate agent in Greensboro and the Triad, North Carolina. If you already live here and you want to connect, if you're thinking about moving to the area, all of my information is in the description. I would love to help you. I help people buy and sell in Greensboro every single day. I've lived in Greensboro my whole life, and on this channel I talk about what's actually like to live here, neighborhoods, lifestyles, restaurants, and of course the real estate market. Okay, so if you walk into some open houses in Greensboro right now, you may feel something like you've not felt happening in a few years. Breathing room. Buyers used to have to make a decision in 24 hours. Even last year in the spring, I was seeing 30 offers on one house, and that wasn't really abnormal. Not every home has a line out the door anymore. Buyers are actually able to rest. Most homes are sitting longer than they would have in 2021, 2022, even last year. Right now, our average day on market is around 90 days. It just means we're becoming a little more balanced. Great homes and great locations are still going really fast, and the best listings are still getting a lot of strong attention. The difference is the average listings have less room for error. Just because the overall market is moving slower does not mean every house is sitting. So is the market crashing? No, at least not in the way it was in 2008. People say, they love to say that there's a crash online, it gets everyone's attention, but a shift is not the same as a crash. In 2008, the market was driven by very different issues. Risky lending. People were getting loans written that they should not have been able to get approved. Stretched way too thin, and then foreclosures were happening because once they were stretched too thin and they got approved for all these lendings and loans that they couldn't afford, then the foreclosures happened. So the market crashed because it was flooded with all of that. Today's market is way different. Most homeowners already have a lot of equity in their home, or they refinanced it to 3% in 2020, or they bought in that era and they got the really low interest rate. But many homeowners have that lower interest rate. Many sellers are not in distress and have to sell. They're just adjusting to a slower market. And while we have a lot of inventory, we're not seeing a lot of foreclosures. Nobody can perfectly call the top or the bottom of the market. If someone tells you they can, that is your sign to be careful. If you're thinking about buying, now is the time, because the market is shifting towards the buyer's market, and we don't know when it's going to get to the bottom of the market and shift again, and no one can predict that. Okay, so what actually changed? To understand why the market feels different, we have to talk about the forces that hit it at the same time. So affordability changed. Buyers are more payment conscious now. As prices were lower, all of those things happened. Interest rates have changed. So it changes what the same purchase price feels like monthly. With the interest rate being lower at a certain price point, it's gonna feel doable. But that same price point with a higher interest rate is gonna feel a little more tight. Insurance, taxes, groceries, repairs, costs are going higher. People are being smarter with their dollars, which is a good thing. And we also have a war on and some other stuff happening in the country right now. So that is also affecting the shift. Inventory increased in some segments. So buyers have more options than they did during the frenzy area. Some of that has new construction coming to the area, having some competition for sellers. Sellers who waited are now listing. And then some owners are realizing they are ready to move, downsize, relocate, or cash out. New construction also adds competition, and because of the scarcity mindset not being there, buyer urgency has cooled a lot. Buyers are asking for closing costs, repairs, rate buy downs, price reductions, and better terms. Right now, I have some clients that are under contract, and we are getting them a rate buy down and closing costs covered. And the sellers are more than happy to do it because they've had a buyer back out and they've been sitting on the market for a while. Great time to buy because there are deals out there. But if you're a buyer, also keep in mind instead of scarcity mindset, there's almost like a scaredy cat mindset. We're seeing that with buyers. Like, you'll sneeze and a buyer's like, oh, I don't want to buy the house after all. When I tell my buyers who are serious about buying, don't let the numbers and the news scare you. Yes, the market is shifting. Yes, things are costing more, but there are deals to be had because there's so much inventory. And if you wait and you try to time the market, you're going to miss out because the market is not going to crash. And especially in this area, when we are the most moved to state in the country, second most moved to state in the country, and the 10th most moved to city in the country. One quote I hear all the time from agents who worked in the 2008 market when it was actually a crash is the deals are made when people are scared. There are sellers out there who are saying yes to the 10,000 in closing costs, who are saying yes in 20,000 in closing costs, who are saying yes to 15,000 price drops, who are saying yes to closing costs covered and rate buy downs covered. What does this mean if you're selling? If you're a seller in Greensboro or the Triad, this is the part I really want you to hear. Price matters more than it has in years, and presentation matters more than it has in years. Sellers cannot price it like it was in 2021 or 22 and just put a price on there and know people are going to put an offer in or offer over. Closed sales from 6 months ago may not tell the full story. And right now, we're looking at recent sold comps, active competition, pending homes, price reductions, days on market, conditions compared to other homes. These are all things that you need to think about when pricing your home. Last week alone, there were, and this is not a fun number, but there were 666 houses that did a price reduction. That's insane, you guys. If you price right in the beginning, the average day on market is 10 days. But if you have a price drop, it's 90 days. Smart move is to price your house for the market you're in, not the market you want it to be in. And the real focus needs to be on how your home stacks up against the competition. And that's why I'm here to help you. So preparing your house for a buyer reaction, an emotional reaction. That means that buyers are more selective now, and so small things matter. Things like cleanliness and clutter and paint touch-ups and repairs and smells and landscaping and lighting and cosmetic details. Essentially, we want this house to look as perfect as possible, even though no such thing exists, because you'll hear me say this a lot, there's no such thing as a perfect house. We want it to look as close to there as possible because buyers want to picture themselves living there. Buyers can tell the level of care even from the photos online. Yes, you may not need to add crown molding or new mirrors for your bathrooms, but things to consider are painting and landscaping and making sure the floors look good, making sure everything is cleaned and tidied. Might even consider hiring a professional stager or a professional cleaner. That I see that have the most return on investment are when there's updates to kitchen, flooring, and decks. People really like the outdoor space, so deck and curb appeal and patio. People love the kitchens, and that's where they spend a lot of their time, and then flooring throughout. And most buyers see the home online before they see it in person, and photos are the first showing. Professional photography is the bare minimum. I have people I can recommend for that. Video, staging, social media marketing. You'll see I have examples of that. I do a lot of social media marketing because that's one of the first ways people see houses nowadays. Those sellers that bought recently, here is something to consider. The math might be tighter than you realize. Your math might be a little different. You may not have appreciated as much as you think you did during the pandemic or as much as people did in the pandemic. Selling costs, repairs, commissions, concessions, doing all of those things to be competitive may affect your final numbers. And so if you've only been in your home for a year or so, you don't have as much equity and it could cost you more to sell. Or you may end up paying for those closing costs out of pocket at closing instead of taking it from your net worth. Your sales net may not be as big as you think it is. Just something to keep in mind. One thing I do for my sellers before we even get to marketing date and all that is we run a seller net sheet so my sellers know exactly what they can net from the sale of the home. Not just, oh, this is the price of the home, but what they would actually walk away with. My other tip for sellers, do not waste the first 2 weeks. That launch matters. It's the most time that you're going to have eyes on the property. It's when all of the websites, I'm a part of Triad MLS, and so we put it on 300,000 different websites. I put it on social media. All of those websites are pushing it out to people. And if you get a serious offer, don't dismiss it too quickly. A lot of times, the first offer is the best offer. And I've seen sellers, well, they'll ignore the first offer, thinking a better one's going to come along. And in reality, it might be that that first one is better, even if it's a little below list price. At the end of the day, we're looking for a win-win. The buyer wants to buy the house, the seller wants to sell the house. So we're looking for a win-win where we can make it work for both parties. Sellers also should keep in mind the competition of new construction, because new construction is offering things like 4% for interest rates and all closing costs paid and brand new fridge and custom blinds. They're offering these rate buy downs for a year or two, not necessarily a permanent 4% interest rate, but maybe like for a year or two, and that can really make a difference for buyers. The seller, think about like, okay, can I offer a rate buy down? Can I offer to have closing costs covered? Because that's going to help with that competition. If you're a buyer, what does this mean if you're buying? If you are hearing all of this and smiling because you're not selling and you're buying, the next part definitely shifts more in your favor. Buyers have more breathing room right now, they have more choices, they have more leverage, and there are options to negotiate terms that they like. If you find a house that's an 8 out of a 10, you should put an offer in on it, because if you keep thinking something is better going to come along, you're going to end up in a situation where nothing is ever good enough. And I say this with all the love I possibly can. You're going to miss out on money too. The appreciation rate for this area tends to be about 4%. So that can be anywhere between $10,000 to $20,000 a year. So while you're waiting for that perfect home, you're losing out on $20,000 a year. If a home has been overpriced for months, then definitely there's room to negotiate, and we can definitely put an offer that's a little below asking. If the seller just did a major price reduction and we come in with another major price reduction for an offer, that might be a little tricky, and they may not want to work with us if they get insulted. So just keep that in mind. A lowball offer is right at the right time, depending on the market and what that house has been through, and if that house has had price reductions or has just been sitting, and all of those things. That's a big part of strategy, and that's why I'm here to help you with strategy. My advice, if they just made a big price cut, come in with strategy, not with ego. And do not confuse leverage with permission to be careless. Don't worry about it too much because you're going to do great. You have a specialist in your corner that has seen this market shift and has seen different types of deals in this market. And I will be in your corner and giving you the advice on the best strategy. And the best deal may not always be the lowest purchase price. Lately, what I have been doing is, instead of negotiating for lower purchase price, we negotiate for a concessions that the buyer can use to buy down the rate. So then with that rate buy down, they're saving $200-300 a month on their mortgage, as opposed to like a $10,000 price cut is only going to save them about $50 a month on their mortgage. That's just one of the things that I do for my buyers, and that has been a big game changer for them. Goes into why it's important to hire the right agent. In a fast market, things go really fast that some mistakes get hidden. In this market, strategy matters again. Sellers need someone who understands pricing and preparation and presentation, social media marketing, and buyer psychology. And buyers need someone who understands where they have leverage, what sellers are accepting, how to negotiate without killing the deal, which homes are overpriced, and which homes are actually worth moving on. Hiring an agent who has not been active in this market recently, they may not know what makes a listing stand out today, and they may not have the best advice. If they're not in this market day in and day out, an expert in the area, doing this full time, live, eating, breathing it, all of those things, you might be missing out. I study the Greensboro market daily. I have been in this market for a while now, and buyers and sellers I work with on a daily basis know that I am local and know that I know all the stats and all the expertise. Create videos and marketing that stands out with social media. I help relocating buyers understand neighborhoods and lifestyles. I help clients make decisions based on strategy, not on panic or fear. And that's one of the reasons I made this video, so that more people like you can have a little bit of an idea of what to expect in this current market. The right agent matters more in a shifting market. The people who understand the difference between a crash and a shift are going to make a better move. So if you're thinking about buying or selling in Greensboro or the Triad, reach out. I would love to help you figure out what this market means for your specific home, neighborhood, or budget. Contact me. All the info is in the description. And also follow me on socials. I do Grace's Places, where I talk about my favorite hidden gems around the Triad. I also do more videos that are related to living with Greensboro on YouTube. And I also do stuff on Facebook as well. Feel free to reach out for a consultation and we can talk more about your specific plan. Until then, like and subscribe, and I'll see you next week.